This is the Millwall drive home with TT, driving home from Griffin Park, where it finished. Brentford 2, Millwall 0. And a fully deserved 3 points for the home side. Oh, tough one to take again. It's difficult to keep going to different away grounds and coming away with nothing, but we didn't really at any stage today look like we were going to get even a point out of that match. We were thoroughly outplayed in terms of football-wise. Brentford spread the play really well actually, and put our wingers and wing backs under a lot of pressure for most of the game. We started off with an unchanged lineup from the Ipswich game, and you couldn't really argue against the starting 11. But we had Amos in goal, Romeo right back, centre back pairing of Hutchinson and Cooper. Left back was retaining his place, Murray Wallace. Left midfield Ferguson. Centre midfield pairing of Leonard Williams, and right midfield we had Yuri Skalak. Strikers were Tom Elliott and Lee Gregory. First half, like I said, we defended compactly, and that meant that their ball players in midfield, players like Josh McEachran, could get on it and spread it from side to side, and they worked the ball around us really well and kept getting down to the byline. Romeo was getting absolutely murdered on his side and wasn't getting too much useful help from Yuri Skalak. And then, like I said, they got to the byline a few times, cut it back in, and it didn't really fall from in the box. They didn't create too many chances. One did come from a cut back in, and the lads hit it on off the bar. But I don't remember Amos really having to make a save, despite all of the pressure that they did have. We've had a couple of chances in the match where I think they've fallen to Elliott and Cooper. Both of them headers, both of them failed to hit the target, which is disappointing. And if they go in, it's potentially a different game. But like I said, I don't think that we deserved anything out of that game. In the second half, you know, we've conceded both goals we've conceded today are cheap. They're both defensive errors, and you don't need that. When you're not picking up points away from home, you can't gift the home team chances. And, you know, both of them are, the second one, you know, we're spread out and we're pushing to try and get an equaliser, but the first one just absolutely kills us. The time that it came, and you don't expect us to be carved open in such a manner. And it's 1-0, then 2-0, and like I said, we just did not look like we were going to get back in that game at all. Highlights for me in terms of my man of the match, I thought we had a couple of decent players. I actually thought Murray Wallace looked good as a left back. Not too many times was he under pressure. He seemed to hold up his end of the bargain quite well. But I thought Ryan Leonard was excellent today. He must run more than any of the other players. He covers the ground. He breaks up the play. I thought he attacked well. Nothing really fell for him in and around the box, but I thought he put them under a lot of pressure. And it wasn't too much he could have done to change the scoreline. Ryan Leonard was my man of the match. I thought also Lee Gregory worked his nuts off, as he usually does. He's had a couple of half chances in the box where he's tried to hold the defender off and spin and shoot, and it's not quite worked his way. He hasn't had any real clear-cut chances, but he was involved in the game. You know, you look at it and you think, those were the players that I noticed. Those were the players that stood out. I thought Skalak was useless, to be honest. Absolutely, completely ineffective. And Wallace came on for him and done absolutely nothing. You know, it's one of those times where Jed tries things and nothing seemed to come off for him. It was just one of those days. And another, really bad performance in my opinion. I thought Elliott done absolutely nothing. Now, I don't mind so much that you're not getting yourself on the end of things. and I thought I felt like he defended well. He was aggressive in his defence at corners, but he just does not put pressure on the ball enough. He does not run enough. He done it right before he come off, and you think that Brentford looked, because they were trying to pass it out from the back, they looked vulnerable when we put a lot of pressure on them. But we just seem to let them, today, we just seem to let them come out too easily. And with the players, the quality of the passing team that they've got, we just allowed them to pass it round us and switch from side to side. So, yeah, I was very disappointed with Scalak and very disappointed with Elliott. And, you know, Harris might look at it and think that's where he's going to look to make changes. If he does make changes, I thought Ferguson didn't really get himself. He didn't really get anything going forward because he had to work so much going back. But he defended well with Murray Wallace at left back. I felt that they worked in tandem, and like I said, they put a lot more pressure on the attacking team, defensive wise, than what we did on the. And I thought, you know, Romeo at right back, it was just calling for him to maybe pick up a booking 30-35 minutes into the game. I know it put him under pressure, but he just kept getting run at, and he was just too slow to the ball. He wasn't getting there in time. We'll move on to ref watch. Simon Hooper, you know, it actually wasn't a bad ref today. I felt like he refereed the game pretty well. The only thing that he didn't do very well was allow Brentford to time waste, and the time wasted by Bentley in the second half was embarrassing. For them to only get only 4 minutes to come up, you know, it's demoralising when you think of the home games we've had and the time that we get added on at the Den. Thinking especially at the Borough game, you know, it was just they were laying down. They were doing the normal tricks to waste time, and the referee didn't seem to do anything to speed up the process. He just allowed it to happen from the start of the second half, really. And you know, other than that, I thought the referee was pretty fair. You know, give fouls 50-50s both ways. So I'm not going to moan too much about that. We've got now top of the table Norwich away from home on next Saturday. Top of the table away from home. You're thinking that's going to be a very tough game, and it will be. Norwich away was one of our worst performances last year, and we're going to have to go some to even pick out a point out of that game. But it's not beyond Millwall. It's not beyond us, because that's what we do. We seem to raise our game for the big occasion, and there's going to be nothing bigger than going away to the top of the table team. Norwich, I think they knocked four past. I'm not sure who they're playing, but they won 4-0 today. So they're going to be difficult. But we've got it in us. You know, I felt we were a little bit off the ball against Ipswich, even though we got all 3 points. I thought we were excellent against Reading in terms of the intensity and pressure we put. We've got to do that as a Millwall team. I don't care what happens. We've got to apply pressure to teams. We can't allow them to just pass the ball around, and I felt we've done that far too often today. But it's a bad day. It was a bad game, and it weren't really an Millwall performance. But we'll go again. We'll go up to Norwich, and we'll try to pick up our first away win. Not our day today, but we'll go again next week. Come on, you Lions.